Hello. So, let's see. What have we got? Do we have the working audio? Yes, we do. How about over here? Hey. Hello, YouTube. Let me see. Hello. Hello. Yes. Okay. Let's get rid of that. Put that there. Okay. Hello. I was going to stream on the weekend. And then I decided to update my system. And running Gen 2, I compile everything from source. And last week was apparently a kernel release week and a couple of other large things that took forever to compile on my old PC. So, we didn't make it, but I did work on the project a little bit. And now I can't start it, which is a good start. Basically what's happened is I've changed a couple of things and I just need to make sure that they're fixed a little bit as we compile everything. So deal with some compiling errors and then everything will be good, hopefully. Hopefully. Anyway, let's see what happens. I did one. And we've moved on. We're now trying to load. We had a problem with client. We're now trying to load dice roller, and we're having a problem with it. And it's simple program error. I don't actually know what that means, but it's handler dice roll dice pool. What? Oh, I need to fix this. Handler roll. Right. So for some reason, there's a problem with this. Now, the thing that we've changed most notably is it takes a connection and we ignore it. It's because we don't actually need the individual connection for this one. We send the dice roll. We send the result of the dice roll out to all connections. Yep. I figure that. Oh, so this is actually happening when I call this the test one. And we can see a bunch of stuff happening. This is happening because I do tests. Ah, you know what it's gonna be. It's gonna be because I do tests. I didn't hand it. Let test data nil test. So now if I find I could probably just hit continue and skip running the test. But let's run the test. Yeah, unfortunately, some of these errors, like invalid number of arguments, actually that does make sense. But I don't know which line, what I'm calling. I don't know where I am. Okay, I'm calling, I can see what I'm calling, but which call am I making? What is this data? I don't know what this data is. It's random data. Yeah. Anyway, it works. Let me actually. Which mouse is it? This mouse. If I do this, can I? It's this one and this one. If I load these pages, this is just chat. And that way I don't have to look around. No, that's not what I want to do. There we go. E. Um. Anyway, what was I saying? I was saying that I just need to hit. Which one of these is the one that's try again? Clear configuration and retry. Let's try this one. Compile file error. Yes. I am all for compile file errors. This is the traits file, which is the new file. So that problem's solved. So I had a busy weekend. Saturday I was out doing stuff, and in between a little bit, I made lists of all of the possible abilities in different games so that I could then make a really large thing, make an array. So I made a list of all of the abilities, turned it into an array, I think. We're interning everything, which I'll show you when it works. I've got a couple of other things here. What is this? Oh, that's the original abilities list that I had. And then I made some WebSocket stuff which I haven't tested at all. So this could all be what's breaking it. Who knows what's actually good? But essentially, we should be able to send traits to a client and have it build an array of traits and have it request traits because it's gotten an index for a trait and gone, I don't know what that is. I better I'd better ask for it. Theoretically, that's what this code does. So, what is it that I need to comment because it doesn't work? ASDF action, format action. Yes. Yes, this file has problems. I am aware that this file has problems. Okay, let's do it this way. Let's grab everything that I don't think should work. Let's hope. So, a bit of wishful thinking. My problem is in here. And 3. And that worked. Brilliant. Okay, so it's open traits here. We're going to close this. We'll open it on the side. And then open the REPL here. Let's grab this. And here we go. That's annoying. 127.0.0.1. There we go. Just out my network IP addresses. Not that should matter. Anyway, so we're back to where we were. We have working stuff. Hello, world. Yay. Dice rolls work. So, what do we have problems with compiling here? Let's undo this. CC. Cool. My WebSocket server client first works. I've then got a second one. So, this one sends a client a trait. This one will send a list of clients a list of traits. They're just functions. They're not even server handlers. So let's try these two. There's 2 here. First of all, this one, which works, handles a request for a trait. The client has gone, hey, can I please have a trait with this index? It's going to get the index and go, it's going to then report if it has a index or not. If it doesn't, it will create it. No, it won't. It will just send a thing back to the client saying, sorry, no trait for you. Because the first one here, where you're sending a single client a single trait, yeah, if the trait you want doesn't exist, it sends you a single byte of data that just says that doesn't exist. Maybe that should be 2 bytes of data. Maybe that should be I should have because it's 1 byte of data to say which handler is handling it. Maybe I should have a generic error handler, just to go, hey, I'm telling you that this didn't work. And then the second byte of data should be, this is the error you're getting, as opposed to 1 byte, which is having to then write a new error handler on the client for every error that I want to tell it about. I will revisit this decision. Let me make a note of that. To do error handling. Yeah, here. To do. One error handler. Okay. Next, we have the new trait request, which is the client has requested, hey, can I make a new trait, and this is what I want it to be called, which should add a new trait to my trait array, and then send back a response saying, yeah, sure, here's your trait. So, client trait list. This is probably where I was having problems. So this is one client, this one. That's what I want. Okay. So defun client PS request new trait. Compilation finished. Okay. So this one is the JavaScript function that, in fact, let's have a look. Where is it? Here we go. In the old JavaScript, how do I do this? Debugger? Index? Yes. Okay. So that's all thing. Here we've got JavaScript. The first thing that happens in my JavaScript is I make a new trait object. Very important. New traits object that is empty. Dice pool stuff. This was it a handler, or was it just? No, it's just a post parenscript function, not postscript. We're not doing anything with postscript. New parenscript function, so it's actually going to be at the bottom of all of this. Here we go. It's going to be this one. No, dice roll. Dice roller input field validation, which I haven't really done really. Dice roller callback. We're still doing dice roller stuff. Dice roller callback. Oh, is here. I think that because I had to reload this file a few times. These functions have all been declared a few times. Here we go. Request new trait. Here is this new function. Request new trait. I don't know what val6 is. I don't know what first value is. I don't know what values list 8 is. Values list 9. Val12. First value 13. Values list 14. Values list 15. So I'm guessing that down here I'm going to find that it didn't like some of the code that I wrote. Which I think I know what it is. I think I know what it is. Okay. Buffer. So len, we're getting the length of trait name. Is that correct? I don't think that's correct. Am I doing anything with len? Oh, no, it is. I'm sorry. We are requesting a new trait. I should do these a bit better. Parameter. I'm not sure. I should find a good way of doing these. So it's trait name. We're doing caps because that's what all the Lisp documentation does, because I am writing Lisp. I don't care that the docstring is turning into a comment here at the top of the function that looks like it would work with Doxygen. We're not actually writing JavaScript. This is a string. The string for the new trait. So yes, it 100% sends trait name to the server via a WebSocket. Requesting that it be added to the trait list will result in a trait will result in the trait being sent back. Yeah, this one here, because I'm manually wrapping that for whatever reason. So I can do this, and now when we're on line 950 or 905, maybe we will actually get this one back, and that's a little bit better. Trait name, a little bit different. That's fine. Var len trait name length buffer new array new data view data pause start pause set int 8 4. 4 is obviously the position of the handler that it's requesting. And then we're setting the second byte to the length. That looks like what I've got here. Let me do this here so we can read it. We are setting the first thing to the handler. We're setting the second thing to the length. And then we're doing a loop. What does this loop do? This loop looks like it does something. It has one of these things, which I think that had a reason, which I don't remember. And then we're calling first value 7 is equal to data pos. And then where values list 8 is equal to a slice of this empty array. Then, okay, we're unshifting first value 7. No, we're unshifting by first. What is this? This is hilarious. Do you know what this is? What this is, and I'm going to unroll this right now. This is because I have used prog1. So Lisp doesn't have I++. But it does have ++i. So incf is ++i. ++i. Incf I is ++i. So how do I make I++ where it returns the value and then increments it? You use prog1. And so I've done that in common Lisp. I've made a macro called n+1, n++, which just does this. And so I was trying it out in JavaScript to see what it would do. And apparently the answer is this awful code. So we're just going to accept that we were wrong. Going to grab... No. I'm going to grab this bit. And we want it to be inside the loop. Do I need... Yep, so that's... So we're setting the data pos as is, and then we're incrementing it, which is what we want to do. And I might want to do this to make it a little bit more readable. And then the trait, we're setting it to the character from trait that we want. And we're going to grab this here and run that. Now, I might need... This might not work. Oh no, that compiled. I was thinking I might have to wrap those 3 forms inside a prog n form. But now if I run this, we're going to find a new version, which is a little bit more readable. It doesn't have any of the extra variables. It just sets each position to each character, one after the next, and then increments both positions. So, yeah. And I've seen this get used now. It's there for them to do weird things with when you do Lispy things. But I do have to understand that at the end of the day, I'm not writing Lisp. I'm writing something that is compiling into JavaScript. So we're going to just accept that. So next function request trait. I don't think I'm doing anything silly here. We are requesting a trait from the WebSocket server. Basically, it's the same thing, but it's with a number instead. Give it an index, a number. It will go, oh, okay. I'll put that in. I'm calling a different trait handler, handle trait request, as opposed to handle new trait request. We're just sending it that number, and that's it. So that looks like this. And you can see it's sending it the number 3 as the magical code. So that's nice. What happens when we receive a new trait? This is what wasn't working. Brilliant. Execution of a form compiled with errors. PS to stream, eval stream, receive new trait. And this is my paren script. Yeah. Yeah, sure. During macro expansion of PS to stream, eval stream, defun receive new trait. Yeah, so all of it. Set F. I see. It's this line. This line here. It doesn't like it. Okay. Does not have an even number of arguments. Does it need an... Oh, yeah, of course it does. What am I trying to set it to? I think that's probably what I wanted. I think that I'm probably trying to set traits.index to trait. Let's just abort compilation. We'll go back to here. It's not REPL. Can I have the REPL back, please? Thank you. Works now. So, now, this is a WebSocket handler, so it's going to be up the top. Excuse me. Nice. Receive new trait. I think I probably did the horrible thing. Yep. So let's remove that. And then we can do this and get rid of that. Get rid of this one. And that. Recompile. Better save it. And then look at the new one and look at that. So much cleaner. But yeah, we're getting a message, turning it into an array at data 8 apparently, and a view. Are all of these global or something? Why is it data 8? Whatever. It's data 8. Number of traits, we're getting the number of traits as the first, so a message has it starts with the callback it wants it to call, this one, and then the number of traits that it's receiving, because it can receive more than one trait. We're then getting the position. Data pos is 2. Oh yes, the position in this array, and then a number I, which is the number of iterations for this loop, which is the number of traits. So while I is less than number of traits, we get an index, which is the current data position. Inc.f, var inc.f is equal to data pos. That doesn't work. What's going... What? Inc.f. Here. This did it. This worked. What have I done? This should be incrementing data pos. This should be... no. No. No, that's not good. That's not right. Inc.fi is there, and that works. INCF. INCF. Oh. It's because it's in the let. Ah, shit. Okay. Okay, so I can get index this way. I want side effects. I want my side effects. I can put the dodgy code back in and just accept the fact that the JavaScript is dodgy. I can set len to 0. No, I can't. Ah. Yep. No. Apparently that's the way to do it. Oh, I need to put this back in too. Here we go. So, index, chain, view, progn, or prog1. Prog1 is a form that returns the return value is the result of the first form as opposed to the last form, because It's usually the last form. There we go. That is the way to do it, apparently. And it does all of this stuff that I don't understand, but that will apparently, I hope, work out how to add 1 to a number but return the first one. Yep, interesting to see. And yeah, then we've got this trait where decoding the thing back into a string, the data back into a string, but it's essentially just a subarray, the rest of the data, right? So get from I until the length, add the length to data pos len 10, and yeah. Then we say that trait is the decoded array. Trait is then in equal to index. So, I haven't tested that yet, but hopefully that works. And then I've got this other one, which is the error handler I was talking about before, which is a specific error, which I probably do need to change into a not so specific error so that it can... The data that as I'm sending it back and forward is a little bit more concise. Excuse me, let me have a bit of a glass of water. We'll look at doing that next time I have to implement some kind of error. A new error. So all of this happened because I was asking the question, how do I store character data? I think I'm not sure if that answer is what I came to at the end of last stream. I seem to have deleted what I had on the character object. Yeah, so I'm not sure if it was what I came to... I've deleted it. Oh, well. Not sure if it's what I came to at the end of last stream and I've just implemented that, or if it's... I came to that decision between last stream and the weekend as I was just thinking about it. But essentially, what we can now do is have an array of traits as the known traits that a character has, the data that's actually stored, as just integers. And then those are... Then we just sync the integers back and forth with every request, as opposed to sending a 10-character string. I'm just reducing the amount of data that I'm sending back and forward. And this is all because I made the mistake of writing this as a web app. Web developers, please learn to not write everything as a web app. Web apps are fine, and at the end of the day, because I want this to work with other people, I would have to do this kind of networking stuff anyway if I wanted that to happen. And that is why I made that decision. But I just had that little outburst there because What is an LSP? Why is an LSP? Hello, Tofu the Lofu. You've come in as I'm ranting. Why is an LSP? And the answer is probably just because the people that invented it, that thought it up, that was what they knew. No, I do know what an LSP is. So I do know what an LSP is. It's why is it done the way that it's done? Yeah. It's because it's why are you running a server? So you've got to have a server, right? That it's then if I write a language, instead of just writing something to an API that is then for a library that is in all text editors have instead implemented the API through WebSockets or something, through HTTP, and then so you're sending a network connection over a web API, asking a server that has to be running somewhere to then do stuff. So when I'm writing something as a language developer, I'm then having to write my implementation into some language server, right? Who is okay? The complexity might be reduced for text editor developers because why not just have the actual runtime dictate what symbols are exposed? Pretty much. Or if you wanted to have that level of abstraction where everyone wrote to the same API, why is that not just a DLL? You've got a similar problem, because if the ABI changes, it's kind of like if the HTTP API changes, well, not the HTTP one, but the LSP API. If you just do that, then it's less complicated. But because you've added in the web technology, all right. Anyway, no, we're what I should be doing is making characters, and actually making a class. So I've just implemented traits as something that I can send over WebSockets. Traits being just a list of things that you can do, that can be on a character sheet. And that's just for data preservation, data savings, so that when I'm sending requests back and forward between the client and the server, I'm sending an integer as opposed to a 10 to 15 character string. So now I want to have a class object, and I need to work out how to represent it both in Lisp and in JavaScript. So we're going to write def class character, and I think I do that because I'm not inheriting from anything. And then I want to have info. I want to have info. I want to have abilities. I want to have attributes. Is that what a character sheet looks like? What does a character sheet look like? Character sheet looks like this. Yeah, it's attributes, then abilities. And I'll only do these two for the moment. Now, info. We'll leave info. Info's a little bit different because a trait has score, whereas these traits, for lack of a better word, don't have scores. They just have text. These also have optional text. Let's see. I think I don't remember how to declare a class. Common Lisp class. The cookbook is probably good, but this page, no, I have the text big for the stream. I need to not shrink it. Def method, def generic. Yep. Yep. Here we go. Accessor, initial arg, type, and documentation. So those are all good ideas. So how do I spell accessor? Yep. That is accessor. Info. We'll get accesses for everyone. Everyone gets an accessor. I'll do this. Attributes and abilities. Now, I'm not sure what we're going to do with info just yet, but I don't need type because I'm going to have an initial argument. Initial arg speed. Init arg is make array. And it's going to be an array of 9? Or do I want an array of 3 and 3? I'm not 100% sure. We'll do 3 and 3. I think I can then access a flattened list. So an array of 3 by 3. I then want init arg. I think I'm going to put all my traits in the one thing. I don't need type. I'm not going to worry about documentation, right? Maybe I will do documentation. Documentation. Array of traits. So here we need initial. I should have element type. And this is going to be unsigned byte 8. And then we will have initial contents. And I know what this is. So what I was saying with my traits list, one of the cool things that it does is that it interns all of the strings. So let me just jump across so that we can see it. I'll get rid of the REPL. We'll jump over to trait. And yeah, here we go. I have this list of traits. They're all strings. We create an array, and then we've got this macro, add trait intern, which does some weird stuff. And then we are turning that macro into a function, we're applying it to list nil trait nil, which is just what you have to do to apply it to this specific macro for whatever reason. That returns the code as a string, which I have to evaluate. This macro, instead of just pushing the thing into the array, so we're getting the trait, we're pushing it into the array, it returns the position. Great. That's the first thing. That's easy. Here's the macro, the program that it returns, progn. I think that the reason it needs those other things is because of progn. Oh no, it needs it if you do defvar as well. Defvar, like def parameter, I could have used, as far as I can tell, they're basically the same thing, except one doesn't require you to give it a value. And so I could have used def parameter because I am giving it a value immediately. But we are adding the word trait to the beginning of whatever that element is. And then we are giving it to this function intern. Intern takes a string and returns a symbol. So we're then giving that to defvar. And the reason I had to do it this way was because you have to give the first parameter of defvar and def parameter has to be a symbol. It cannot be a form that returns a symbol. So I've done this magic so that we turn this into a symbol before it actually tries to invoke defvar. And then we're setting that symbol to the value. So what that means, if I go back to the REPL, I can go trait academics. Didn't work. Did I just spell it wrong? Let's go trait law. Oh. Okay. That's upsetting. Trait. Oh. I know what's wrong. Everything's actually fine. You've got to be in a package in order to call symbols and find out what their values are. Now, if I type trait, there all of these traits in my list of known traits. Slime knows what they are. Trait dodge is the 18th one in the list. So because I want indices here, I can write trait st strength. I want trait. I probably want, what do I want? Dex for dexterity. Trait. It's gonna be stamina. And that's the first list. We then want trait charisma, followed by trait manipulation, followed by trait appearance. No, that's the end. And we've got a new list because we're doing two-dimensional array. Trait. Perception. Yep, perception. Trait. It was intelligence, I think. Intelligence. And trait. Wits. And so that's going to create the correct array that we want. This one we don't want it to be adjustable. And so that's done. Then we've got this accessor here. Let's make some, in fact, let's just grab this documentation. Init arg. Make array. Now, does it make sense for this one to be different array, multi-dimensional arrays? And I ask that question because, it's fine. It doesn't matter. It's just a little bit more of a hassle to redeclare arrays. So this one will be adjustable, right? So if I do element type resize, that's the word I want. Type unsigned byte 8. And we will have an initial contents. But we also, it's going to be this, this, and this. We want it to be adjustable. Adjustable T. And so the problem with multi-dimensional arrays, so a singular direction array, the vector push macro or function or whatever it is, will vector push extend will actually resize the array if it needs to. I think it just doubles the size of the array if it needs to. I should double check that. Whereas this one won't do anything like that. This one just makes an array, okay, you can adjust it, which means that when you call the adjust array form, it will overwrite the adjust array symbol to have the new array instead of the old one. But otherwise, you're just making a new array. Using the original one as the you've then got to make a list out of the original array with the new contents in initial contents. Or no, you don't. You do just use the initial array and then add the new thing in the new spot afterwards. Anyway, you have to do something. So, how many of these do I want? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I guess we'll go 10. In fact, we'll go 16. So it's a nice power of 2. And then 10's fine. Is 10 fine? Hang on a second. We've got 3, so that's actually 30. Um, 32 divided by 3 is not 10. It's not a whole number. It's fine. 10 it is. 33 would be, which would be 11 each. Nine times 3 is 27. Nah, there's no, unless, what, 32 plus something. $32 plus 4 is 36. So what is that, like 12? All right, let's do that. That way I've got a couple of extra spaces because people might want, I think it's probably going to be pretty rare, but you know, no, actually, I'm going to be the main user of this. I'm going to want to add things. But how many? How many will I add is always the question. So, initial contents, what will they be? I don't know. Let's go alertness, athletics awareness, trait alertness, trait awareness. It was trait athletics first, wasn't it? Athletics awareness, trait brawl, empathy and then expression. Empathy, expression, trait expression, leadership, streetwise, and subterfuge. I'm not thinking too deeply about these right now because I'm thinking less about the game I actually want to play. Streetwise. Less about the game that I want to play and more about just getting the tech working. I will have to come back to this when I want to play a game. So animal. Oh. What is trait animal? Trait and okay, trait animal does so it drops everything after the space. I should probably go in and modify that so that it doesn't and puts a hyphen in instead. Oh, there's a trait Ken as well. Interesting. So animal archery. Craft. And so craft is a special one because I should be able to have it multiple times. In fact, I'm going to put in multiple times because we are going to want to test that. Craft Drive. Why have I got drive? I don't want drive. Let's go ride. Etiquette. Firearms. I don't want firearms. Let's go melee. How many do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I do have 10. I thought I counted 9 before. I did count 9. Where have I added a thing? Brawl, empathy, expression. I've got expression twice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Performance. We're going to have craft twice. We're just going to count it as 1. Security. Trait. Survival. 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Good. And let's get some academics. Trait computer. Trait. Computer doesn't make sense. Finance. In fact, I'm not going to bother filling these out, but that will do the thing and create everything. Now, the next question is talents or all traits can have specializations. So, where do I store those? How do I store those? You know what? This might have to be 2. And so we put all of these in another list, I think. And this is okay because we can make a specializations, basically do the same thing as we did with traits, and create an array of specializations, which we keep as numbers as well. However, we will want to keep them separate. And the reason for that, well, maybe they could just be more traits. But if I go nil, I go, oh, I should go 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. We'll put and now this here, I'm going to go 100 and 101 because I don't know what they are yet. I'm not doing anything with them yet, but that will remind me that we need to do something with them. I think academics, you need one as well. But basically, crafts, every time you take crafts, you have to take a specialization. And I think it's the same with academics. In fact, 3, 12, 3. So we get the number for the trait, the number for the specialization. See that here we go. The problem here is that you can have multiple specializations. So with crafts, you can only have one specialization for crafts, but you take crafts multiple times, and each one of them has their own rating. However, when you've got anything else, you can have multiple specializations in it. So 3, I think, is correct. In fact, this one needs to be 2 because I need to store values in these. So we need to store what actually is it. And technically, I don't need to do it with the attributes because they're always going to be the same. But if we do the default is 1 for all of these things. Or the minimum is 1 when you're doing character creation. And then 0 for all of these things. We need to store a value. So I think 2 is right, and I think I've got to have a list of specializations. And that list is a pair. It's a bunch of numbers that direct you to which thing it belongs to, I think. I do need trait max, which is going to have an accessor of trait max, an initial argument of 5, and we will set the type to how are we doing type over in this example? Type real, I think unsigned byte 8. If you have a number bigger than 255, something is wrong. Yeah. So that will make that work. And then we need specializations. With an accessor of specializations. And in this case, we will have I think we're always going to have an initial init arg make array now. What kind of array is this? Is it... It doesn't need to be a big array. I think it is going to be 6-2. I don't think it's going to be 6-2. No. Oh, maybe it is going to be 6-2. No, it's got to be larger. It's got to be like 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. 6, 4. So we're going to make it adjustable. We're going to have an element type, sorry. Element. In fact, let me jump up here and just grab this one. And then I can make it adjustable. T. And we can have some initial element, contents, and we're going to give it, so craft is 2 because it is in abilities, and then it is 1 because, in fact, maybe it should be 1, 0, keeping everything starting from 0. So 0 is, no, it's going to be 2. Yet, do I overload this, and specializations is also where I keep the strings for the info, and info is just traits. That might actually be how I do that. 2 for abilities, 1 for skills, and then it's in position 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, 2, and 100. And then we're going to have 2, 1, 3 as 101. So we've got 2 specializations for crafts. And then 2, 2 for knowledges. 0 for academics. 0, not 9. And 102. And so this should allow us to create a default character. Now, this is something I wouldn't usually put here. In fact, let's actually not have... Let's do this. Let's run this and go, oh god, it doesn't work. Let me save everything. So we're starting with an empty craft because an empty character sheet would have empty craft on it. And then you'd put something on it and we'd be like, oh, okay, we need to add another craft. I suppose we'd only do it when you wanted to add another craft. We'll do it this way, and then we'll change it as we build it. Def class, execution of form compiled with errors, compile time error, slot init arg name for name 5 for slot trait max in def class is not. Oh, I'm sorry. Init arg is not what I want. How do I give it initial contents? Initial arg is in the constructor, what do I do to specify it? So I can change that. That's fine. But what do I replace it with? Make instance. And maybe I don't actually want to set any. Maybe I do. Yeah, I do. I want to set them as. Oh. That's hard, actually. We've got an object of type point. Yeah, that's nice. Initial form. Does that give the. Yeah, the default value, in case you didn't. Okay. So let's abort here. Jump up to the top. Init form. And init arg is trait max. So I can set the trait max in the constructor. Now, I actually don't think I want initial. I don't want to set these in the constructor. I think that I'm going to have to write my own constructor that will take the lists and then overwrite the contents. So make all of this form. Form. And we've got a bit of a dodgy one. And this is an array of specializations. And maybe that's also an array of traits. Okay, we've got more problems. Execution of a form compiled with errors. Top level form. No locals. Macro expansion of. Which bit? Where is the problem? Where in my thing is the problem? I'm at the point where I really need to go. So this might unfortunately become a next time problem. But Tofu, if you're still there, I know you did more closure stuff, if I remember, as opposed to Lisp stuff. But do you have any ideas as to better debuggers? Because this is okay. It's giving me the data that it's kind of using, but it's not telling me. Have you seen anything that allows you to see which part of a form the error is actually occurring in? because that would be really helpful. It probably doesn't help that I've written, a huge amount of crap. But the reality is the only way I think I can think of fixing this is commenting or just deleting stuff and then recompiling it. During macro expansion of def class character, malform plist. Okay, so, oh, no. I think we can say it got to here fine. What's a farm? Okay, still malformed plist. It could just be that this isn't how you do three-dimensional arrays. Let's have a go at that. That's not what I wanted. Make array 3, 3, 2. Initial content. One, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4. One, I don't know. 1, 2. Dimension of axis 0 is 3. But, is it easier instead to do... Let's remove these. I'll just dump them at the bottom here for the moment. Initial element, I think, yep, initial element is 0. Let's dump this one out to here. Initial element to 0. And can I compile this one? No, I've still got the issue. Malformed plist, odd number of elements. That is an error that I can actually do something with. Oh. Here we go. if I have a look, there's a tiny thin line here. Abilities. What's wrong? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Oh, I shouldn't have. Let's put that back. And I'll just grab that. Okay, there we go. Is that right? There we go. Whoa, yeah. God damn it. So I want that there. Yes, that's what I want. This one is better. Lock on the package, common lisp violated. Have I already got another? Oh, I'm violating locks. I don't think see. I'm just a bit. Did I exit the debugger? I don't have a debugger buffer up the top. Okay. Lock on package common lisp violated when defining character as a class in class while in package st engine. Unlock the package. Cannot change class objects into class meta objects. Is character a built-in maybe? Yep, it's going to be some kind of name thing. We've got some evaluation aborted. Hello? Okay. So, court warning. Undefined type. Unsigned byte. The name starts with quote. Probably use of quote. Okay, so do I do this? That's one less warning, I think. Well, it's gone. The next one is here on make array. Does it not like that it's adjustable, maybe? Let me just... Hello. I'll recompile it so I can see exactly what... Okay. In file, yep. Element type, yep. Court style warning, undefined function, make a... Oh, no. I just can't spell. And everything is good. So that's great. I've got it making a thing. Now I just need to do something. If I go 20 equals, is that? Nope. 20 equal. Whoa. 20 equals down. Okay. Now I'm just making these lists, which if I should be able to do. Okay, I need to copy it. So I can make a list of lists of lists. Next time, I will do something with those. I'll actually make a constructor that puts data in the class when it makes it, and I will then look at turning that into a JavaScript representation. Awesome. Thanks very much for joining me, and I will see you next time. Have a good one.